Good evening. Welcome to the United Stand. I'm your host, Jay Daly. The Day of Days, founded in 1878 by rail workers in Manchester. The Buzzy Babes in the 50s, winning two back-to-back doubles in the 90s, winning the European Cup in 68, 1999, 2008. Today is a day, guys, that I think will live long in the history of the club. So we're here tonight just to discuss, obviously, what happened today and the long-term ramifications of the protests. I know from what we've seen on Twitter, some of you are very pro the protests, pardon the pun, and we've seen also some reactions that a lot of you have your very strong thoughts on the pitch invasion, as it was called in the media. So tonight, guys, it's going to be a long show. We're obviously appreciate your comments as always. So we'll rock it off with Kevin Ashford, because Kevin was there today on the ground. I was literally in my sitting room watching the Sky Sports coverage from Ireland. So I want to hear from Kevin and Bess, first of all, because they were actually there today. Guys, comment away. I want to hear your comments. So Kevin, you were there today. Tell us your impressions of the day.
Yeah, it was, listen, at the end of the day, from the moment the Glazers took over Manchester United, this has been a movement that Manchester United fans have continued. But for me, it is getting very, very vicious. Manchester United fans have had enough, right? We've never warmed to the Glazers. The fact of how much money they've taken out this club, what they are doing to it is absolutely soul destroying as Manchester United fans. What we seen today was Manchester United fans getting together and actually making the biggest, what I would say, the protest in itself, what Manchester United did today was incredible. We have just managed to call off the biggest game in the football calendar in English football, which is Manchester United against Liverpool. The worldwide audience for this game is mind-boggling, right? And the Manchester United fans that turned up today have managed somehow to stop this game. This message now goes worldwide. There's people in India, America, whatever. Manchester United fans are looking at this and going, wait a minute, the Manchester United game has been stopped. It's been stopped for a reason, right? Manchester United fans have had enough. The so-called Super League, the fact that these American owners thought that, you know, they could ring fence and put Manchester United, Man City, whatever, all these clubs into a certain area. We've had enough. And Manchester United fans today have come together and protested and managed to stop a massive, massive game. It's testament to everyone, right? Anybody that says that the fans storming in the ground and all, I love the way the media portray this as football hooliganism, right? It is not. These are Manchester United fans that are passionate about Manchester United. They turned up today and they would have done whatever to get their message across at Manchester United, the Glazers, whatever. What are we supposed to do? Just sit there, keep quiet, be sheep, follow the crowd? No. We went there today. We got the message over. We got the game stopped. I spoke to a lad after. I was walking back past the ground. He said, the main thing we're trying to do today is get this game called off, right? And we did it. We, as Manchester United fans, turning up in numbers, demonstrating against them parasites, the Glazers, we have stopped one of the world's biggest sporting spectacles, which is Manchester United against Liverpool, right? It will send shockwaves. And if we want to get the Glazers out, this is the only thing we can do at this minute in time. And anyone that says anything different, right, about these fans running in the ground, whatever they did, that's the only way we can get our message across at this minute in time. We've done it today. For me, it's a triumph. If anybody wants to say anything differently against that, bring it on. Honestly, this is a good day for Manchester United.
Kevin, well said. I do strongly believe, yes, it was a good day for us as fans. And we have reached a tipping point day that, literally enough is enough. We've been under this regime for 16 years. And as we know, 1.5 billion removed from the club. I think it's been 16 years of incompetence. And I would go as far as say stripping of our assets. The ground is in a state of disrepair. Last time I was there was just over 2.5 years ago. And I couldn't believe the state of the ground. I was actually astounded. Like, if you own a business, you protect your investment, your infrastructure. The Glazers haven't even done the basic protection of the ground. I've seen there in the comments, some person, I won't mention their name, referred to the fans today, quote unquote, as criminals and hooligans. I do not agree with that comment whatsoever.
Absolute
yeah,
bollocks, mate.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Bollocks.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, it is bollocks, right? Anybody that's saying that any Manchester United fan is a criminal, a hooligan, or whatever, yes, people turned up today or what? The mind boggles, and these people that are saying that are part of the problem, right? Because are they Glazers out? We're Glazers out, and that, yeah, we want rid of the Glazers. How are you supposed to do it? The only way you can do it is to turn up to Old Trafford today, right? Fans got in the ground. They have managed to get, like I said, at the risk of going over what I've said, we've got the biggest game in English football called off. This goes worldwide. It sends shockwaves through the football world. This is fan power, right? I don't care that United fans ran in, we're on the pitch and that. We've managed to do that. Anybody that is saying that the fans that did that are hooligans, criminals, they should be locked up. I heard to Perry Groves or whatever on my way back from Old Trafford today on Talk Sport saying United fans should be ashamed of themselves. They brought shame on the club. Shame on the club. The Glazers bring shame on this club. And every United fan that was there today, fair play to them. Fair play for everything they did, right? It was peaceful. It was peaceful. They got on the pitch, did whatever. We've started a movement, right? We've done it. At the end of the day, all we want is the Glazers to sell this club. But if any person out there is saying for 1 minute that any protester United fan today was out there and they should be locked up, the hooligans or whatever, you're part of the problem. Get with the movement, right? Glazers out. And that is it. That's what we were all there for today, mate.
Kevin, very, very eloquent and well said. And, I share your passion. The only issue that I have with today was once the fans got entry into the stadium, I felt that people were in there and they're running around like headless chickens. I felt the message would have looked better optically to go worldwide if the fans had got into the centre circle, raised their placards and their banners in a conjoined collective effort. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because that would have been a very powerful image. You've got like 1,000 people in the centre circle of Old Trafford in unison, all chanting the Glazers out, get out of our club, and holding up the 50+1 placards and the Glazers out placards. I feel that would have been a very powerful image. But unfortunately, the media, Kevin, as you know, are going to spin the hooligan element. Of course they are. And they're also going to spin the image of the young lad climbing up on the goalpost. They're showing the image of the chap smashing the camera. So they are going to try and tar this as a destructive, not peaceful protest. Now, I know for the most part it was peaceful, but let's be fair. If you're running that out with a bunch of 10 lads, all it takes is one person to run amok, and all of a sudden the entire group gets tarred with a bad image. I just feel the media narrative that we're going to see tomorrow in the newspapers, unfortunately, could be the negative. And that plays into the hands of the Glazers. Beth, you were there today as well on the ground. What was your opinion on the fans entering the ground?
I kind of agree with what Kev said. I didn't personally enter the ground myself, but the reason the game was called off is because them fans did enter the ground and they did make that protest. And like Kev said, the reason why this is going worldwide and people are actually finally starting to listen is because the match was called off, because people will be wondering why it's been called off. And the reason for that is because fans entered the ground and made a protest. It was all over the news. And yes, we've said the news are going to focus on that video of the guy throwing the camera. A few idiots who got a little bit out of hand, yes. But the majority of people, you can't say everybody is the same as them individuals that were taking it to a high extreme. The majority of people were there protesting for what they want, which is for the Glazers to be out. And you know what? This might not make the Glazers be out, but it's doing something to try and get it to happen. People who are sat there doing nothing about it, then you can't say that you want the Glazers out, can you? Because you're doing absolutely nothing about the reason that we're all trying to do it together. And to have all them fans in that vicinity and protesting the way that we were, I feel like that is a proper protest. It made waves around the world. It got the game called off, which, yeah, people were saying they don't want the game called off. They wanted to watch Liverpool versus Manchester United. It's one small sacrifice for the greater good. And the greater good is to get this message put into the world that we don't want the Glazers in our club anymore. And people are saying, do you really think the Glazers are going to be watching this? Well, in the stadiums, people are entering the stadium and it's all over the news. They're going to have to see it somehow. And it's getting into their heads as best as you can. They might not care, but it's trying to do something to make it clear that no one wants the Glazers in the club. I spoke to a lot of people today, people who were little kids, like 7 years old, 10 years old. And I spoke to people who'd been fans of Manchester United all their life. One guy said to me, he used to pay 75p to go and watch the game at Old Trafford. I think Kev was there with me when that was happening. And these people all feel the same way. They feel like the club has been taken and been put into disarray by these owners. I mean, all the other owners are to blame as well for joining that Super League. But like they said, at least the Manchester City owners have put money into the economy. But I tried to help Manchester and build a great academy. As we're saying here, footballers are starting to put their kids into Manchester City's academy because of the better facilities. What are the Glazers doing? They are taking dividends out every year, not reinvesting for as much as they should. We're not asking for hundreds and hundreds of millions spent on transfers. We're asking for what we deserve. And the club of that size deserves the money spent on it that they should be doing for what they're earning. And they're not doing it. For however long they've been in charge, this club, is that 15, 16 years now? They've been in charge. Each year, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And people are getting fed up. And I think the European Super League, to show what they did for that, and then some apology that was just completely fake. Nothing's been done since. And it's just the same old story. And you've got to get your point across. And yet, personally, for me, I won't be smashing things up on the pitch. But I feel like going into the ground and making your voices heard is a way that you can get the message across. And I just hope people continue to try and spread this message, because it's the only way that anyone has got a chance to get the Glazers out. And even if they don't get out, it might make them start thinking differently about how they're going to run the club or what money they're going to invest. And something is better than nothing at the end of the day.
That's a very pertinent point, that today's protests may not be the tipping point that gets them out, but it may, I hope and pray, that it makes them readdress their management of the club and the vision for the club. And I already alluded to the infrastructure of the stadium. You alluded to the academy, yeah. And we've all had issue with the club not being run by football men. Now, obviously, Woodward is leaving, but his replacement literally is another Glazer puppet / clone. So right now, the future looks bleak right now, but maybe today, and as you said, Kevin, this will resonate worldwide. This is going to be all over the American sports channels when America wakes up on the East Coast. So I just have issue with how the media are going to spin this. I really, really do. 2 weeks ago, I was ashamed to be associated with Manchester United because of the Super League. Today, I'm now proud again of the fans. I'm not proud of the club, but I'm very proud of the fans today. Jack, I know you've got another viewpoint. I'm delighted to hear it. Can you respond to what Beth and Kevin said?
Jay, just quickly,
go ahead.
To read the super chat.
Super chat.
Said.
Okay, I know that. Oh, so Jer Hutt, I hope all the people that got hurt in this is okay and not badly damaged. PL could have been history if the owners got its way. Well, the Premiership today, the statement they came out with, it was very, very damning of Manchester United fans. I felt that statement today was horrendous from the Premiership. It was putting all the blame on the fans.
Yeah.
And also, I want to touch on later on with you guys the comments by Souness and Micah Richards. So it takes a lot to get me angry. You mightn't believe it, but it takes a lot to get me angry. And I'm there watching Souness today. I almost threw my glass at the TV. I thought, Souness, you scumbag, you're a Scouser scumbag. And then, to be fair, we had the impassioned words of Jamie Carragher, who was, let's be fair to you, we've all said Jamie Carragher, but as a pundit, guys, I like him. He was nothing but complimentary of United fans today. And he could have easily have gone down the Souness line and be so negative towards us. But to be fair to Jamie Carragher today, guys, he spoke for United fans and he spoke for, good, honest football fans in general. I was very delighted to hear his comments today. Jack, what say you?
I don't want to let all you guys down, but my views aren't actually as strong as you think on this. It's just plain and simple for me, really. First of all, I just want to bring back Kev's point about today. I think the sensationalism from the British media about United fans being thugs and criminals is totally wrong. I think it's totally just blown way out of proportion. And the sorry thing is the way the club is kind of been portrayed in the media in the past. The papers will come out tomorrow and there will be some damning pictures of United fans, of people climbing the goalposts at Old Trafford, of people vandalising the executive boxes, people doing this and that inside the ground. My issue, if you want to call it that, with people going into the ground and protesting, I just believe it can be done differently. And I know Kev especially has raised, and Beth as well has said, if you're going to get the Glazers out, do this and that. But
how can you do it differently?
The Glazers PR machine, there will be a PR spin on this. There will be a photo. They'll get some photos out. The club have already put out a statement in regards to what happened today and apologising and saying, this and that about the supporters. I do not at all detest what fans did in terms of going into the ground. I just think it needs to be done differently. I think going into the ground was
how though, Jack? How do you do it differently?
In terms of how I would personally... Oh, sorry, Jay's just gone. In terms of how I would do it differently, Kev, I think the protest outside the ground, I think that the longevity of that needs to happen every single home game. None of this, we've just done it now, we've made a statement. You and Beth have rightly said that these pitch protests are going to go worldwide. Everyone's going to hear about it. They are. It's worldwide, but we can't stop here. But going into the ground, it just doesn't sit right with me. I think you're just giving the media something to talk about us in a bad light. You're giving us fans. I'm not saying, Kev, we're all together on this. I want us to all unite. And I think this is what... I don't want the fan base to become divided by this, but I think you can already see, and I think all of us sitting here will pick up a paper tomorrow and there will be some slander against United fans. There will be some negative articles about United fans. And it's just, the Glazers will spin this.
I don't care, mate. Listen, Jack,
every fan them papers, it's just a PR spin. Like that, people can know what's right from wrong, and fans are the most important part of Manchester United Football Club. And it's going to clock in people's heads. Why are these fans doing this?
Yeah, but you know what it's boiled down. You know what this boils down to, Beth? It's not even... This is a massive tipping point. I 100% agree with that. Today, we have made this statement outside of the ground. Forget the pitch invasion. If we were outside, you guys were all outside, you and Kev, KG, I saw the coverage on United Stand, big up yourselves. It would still make national news because it's Manchester United. There are 10,000 fans outside. But wait, let me just finish my point. So that happens outside. But I think this isn't about just the Glazer ownership. This is about reforming. We've all signed that petition for 50+1, for fan ownership, for fan reform, the fan-led review into football. This has got to be the tipping point. It is all about Manchester United on this channel and about us. But you look at the wider football pyramid, this has got to change now. And you're going to ask me what my views are on the pitch. For me personally, it didn't sit right with me. Fans going onto the pitch, it just didn't sit right. But the numbers that went out today, it was great to see. All us fans came together and we all share this common goal. But I don't want this to stop here. I might be classed as a hypocrite because I weren't there today. But
No,
I would have been, and I'm Jay would have been there. Jay, you would have been there, wouldn't you? If COVID regulations would have allowed you to go, you would have been outside Old Trafford with us all chanting for this same goal. We want the Glazers out of this football club.
Yeah, 100%. I went there 100%, and I probably would have been one of the people that would have got swept up and ended up on the ground. Knowing me, yeah, I would.
Can I,
But
Jay?
But go. Sorry,
No,
Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
Jay, let me just say, Jack. Right, you're missing the point here. The game was called off today for safety reasons, right? And you're saying that fans shouldn't have stormed into the ground. That doesn't sit right with you, right? The reason this game didn't go ahead today is because they couldn't account for how many Manchester United fans were in the ground. I know of speaking to a mate that I met after walking back from the protest. He said, we're going to get this game called off. So I said, right, nice one, fair play. What's your intention? There's fans still inside the ground, right? And this is why it took so long. They delayed the match. Yeah, we're going to play it in half an hour or whatever. But then to do a full sweep of Old Trafford to check for the fans, they don't know how many have gone in, gone out, whatever, done whatever. So from my knowledge, right, there was Manchester United fans still in the ground, prepared for the Manchester United match against Liverpool to kick off. When it kicked off, if it got to that point, them fans that was still in the ground would have then gone on the pitch and held up again one of the biggest fixtures in world football, Manchester United against Liverpool. So you need to look at it that way. There was a lot more planned today. The fact of at the Lowry Hotel, the fans stopped the bus and that, but there was still fans in Old Trafford hours after all that happened, and they would have stormed on the pitch if the game would have happened. So you need to look at it like that as well.
The peaceful protests
Kevin,
outside.
Sorry, Jack. Sorry, Alex. I'll go to you next, Alex. Some super chats to read out. Yeah, that's a very pertinent point, Kevin, that a lot of people don't actually comprehend that even after the pitch was cleared, they still could not account for the number of fans that were still in the ground. So from a sheer point of view of health and safety, they couldn't take the risk of, fans hiding, in various little nooks and crannies in the ground very easily. It's a big place.
Toilets, offices,
exactly.
You can't do a full sweep of Old Trafford. It's massive. How can you do a full sweep and go, yeah, we're happy that everybody's out? Because they don't know how many people have come in.
Sorry, go ahead, Beth.
It's not. Some people might see it as disrespectful, but no one's hurting anybody. The money that's going to have to be spent to repair it is coming out of the Glazers' pockets. None of us are going to have to pay for that. It's them that's going to have to redo it, and it will go back. It will go back to normal. Fully, it will go back to normal. So no one's been hurt. Nothing like that's happened. They've just made a big point, and like that super chat says, you can sing and chant all year round, but no one's going to listen. That's not going to call the game off. It's one of them. Like, where do you draw the line?
Alex, I'll go to you next. Sorry, Jack. I need to read some super chats here because I'm new presenting here. So I've missed a load of super chats, and I want to apologise to anybody that missed a super chat. There's one here from Cahill Lane. Sorry, Jack, but you're wrong. We could sing and chant outside the stadium all year long. They do not care. We need to go the extra mile. And there's one here as well, a very good one from a Luke Mason. Luke says, I was there. Out of nowhere, police started charging at us with batons and horses. From the angle I was at, no United fans were being violent, but the media won't show this. Alex, do you want to respond to that?
I kind of needed Jack here for my point, but I was going to say, with the protesting outside, Arsenal had their protest the other day, all chanting outside or whatever. Now it's gone dusted and forgotten about already. People will be talking about... Oh, I'll say it again. Now that you're back, Jack. I was going to say, Arsenal had their protest the other day, doing what you want to do, just calmly, peacefully protest outside. They did it, and now it's done. Everyone's moved on with their life. Won't be spoken about again. With this one, then people are going to be talking about it for weeks, months, years even. Like Jason, Alex, this will go down in United's history. Alex,
sorry to jump in. You made such a good point there, right? Arsenal did their protest. It was peaceful or whatever. Do you think Kroenke's going to look at that and go, bloody hell, I'm going to have to sell this club now. You know, I've had enough of all these fans. And that is what today was about, man. We try to make the Glazers look at this and get to the point where they're that pissed off that they go, can we really be doing with all these bellends? Well, I'm calling myself a bellend turning up at Old Trafford, but all these knobheads turning up, you know, and protesting. Sorry, but that was a great point, Alex.
Yeah, that's fine. But so that's what I think we have to do, is to just keep going on and keep doing this. You need to be more like just peacefully protesting in anything in like throughout human history. It doesn't achieve anything.
I understand you need a revolution to make.
Yeah, and so they need to push it further. But I was on Instagram with Jay earlier, and I think it is true what Jay said, is that they kind of they got onto the pitch, but because they weren't planning to get that far, they got there and then they were a bit like, oh God, what do we do now? We're in this situation. Whereas if they would have had that goal from the beginning and then got to it, they would have been able to do something like stand in the centre circle, things like that. But you need to push it more. Like what Keane said, is like, it shows that they're not going away and that they will do something again. I think if it gets rescheduled, I think they should protest it again. I mean, the turnout won't be as big, but if you just keep doing things to like sabotage things.
Okay, so here's the thing then. So I'm not completely contradicting my point, but in terms of Kev, I'll ask you this: like in terms of the pitch protest, obviously now the security at Old Trafford's going to be even more heightened. So what happens now in terms of making another statement? What can we do as fans when we go, say, to Fulham maybe in a couple of weeks, there's 10,000 fans there. When we actually go on a match day, what can we do?
Well, it's not going to happen against Fulham. United fans have strategically, is that a word? Yeah. I've had a glass of red wine, that's why. Yeah, that's the one. But they've chose this game because it's the most viewed game in world football. And today, Manchester United has made a statement. This game now still has to be fulfilled and played. So what happens? We choose the next, when they decide to fulfill this fixture, it's United against Liverpool again. What's going to happen? The same's going to happen again.
Protest the Lowry again. Until they have to move the team to a different place, they won't be so publicised where it is. But if you protest the Lowry again, so that the players, and I'm not saying to obviously do anything to affect the players, but if you just stop it, like when they were chanting and celebrating after saying "we decide when you play," if you protest outside the Lowry, then they're not going to be able to leave to play. So then you'd have the game called off again.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to read some super chats here, and then Beth, and I'll come back to you. There's a lady here goes by K Flow. Jack, keep this message. No sacrifice, no victory. That is how we win. Glazers out. That's for you, Jack. Okay. Also, we have a Michael Southcombe. Guys, I personally think someone working for the club let the fans in the stadium Glazers out. Yeah, that's exactly what Alex and I said today when we did Instagram Live. We just went import. Yeah, we reckon, like, come on. There is no way, shape, or form that the fans, weren't just let in. They were let in stadium today. I do believe they were let in. Like, Bet, what do you think? Do you believe I believe they were let in personally. I believe they were let in. Bet, what's your point on it?
I was stood there with Kevin. I was saying, I don't understand how it would be so easy when everybody knew this process would be happening to get that many fans into the stadium. Like, surely we know the Glazers are inept and we know the club is inept, but surely they're not that inept that they didn't realise that there would be people outside Old Trafford and potentially wanting to come into Old Trafford. It was an organised process. There was predictions of 10,000 people coming. Surely they must have had security and everything lined up in a way to make sure nobody got in. So that's what I was thinking, how quickly people managed to get into the stadium. And there was people like on the top floors, like banging on the windows and everything. They were all over the place. And it's like, surely, how could they have done that if there wasn't a bit of security lacking or turning a blind eye in some sort of way? Obviously, we'll never know, but I can't believe that Manchester United security wasn't good enough that they couldn't stop people coming in through a turnstile. I think they must have had some sort of security there. And one of the reasons you can look at it is maybe there was an insider that kind of just opened the door and was like, turned a blind eye, whatever it could have been. We don't know. It's either that or the club has one of the worst security systems in football, because, I mean, how people could get in when it was an organised process, I have absolutely zero idea. It just shows, it's actually laughable because anything the club do just seems to just be like basically. So it's like everything, like they can't do transfers, they can't even keep a few people out of Old Trafford. It's mad.
Yeah, on the previous show with Flex and KG, I said that this club was run akin to Del Boy Trotter on No Food and Horses, the episode where they go on the Jolly Boys out into Margate. So inept at transfers, inept at, doing repairs to the ground, and inept today when they know, like, it wasn't if all of a sudden this morning 10,000 United fans decided, right lads, let's protest today. It was well documented. They knew it was going to happen. So it's either A, there was breaches in security whereby some security guards are like, okay, well, I'm not putting my neck on the line today. If they want to come in, let them in. Or, to put there as advocate, did the Glazers actually want the pitch invasion today to use it as a PR spin to use to their advantage? I don't know. It's consideration, guys. It's consideration.
Jay, I'll say one thing. Inside job. This has been planned, right, for weeks, and really, really well planned, right? Somebody on the inside of Old Trafford today opened that door, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't booted in. It wasn't like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't. And I know. Yeah. And years ago, I used to work at Old Trafford, right? So okay. I know what goes on inside or whatever. And I'll tell you, from what I've heard today, right? Listen, there was somebody on the inside that took £50 or whatever at a certain time. You open that door. I've said, listen, I've seen it. I remember when United played in the European Cup final against Barcelona at Wembley. A mate of mine got a job there working on security. He earned about £3,000 that day from United fans giving him a tenner each. And he just said, listen, give me a tenner. He was like, you be at door 21A at this certain time, and the door's just going to magically open, which was him. And then everybody ran in, and then it shut, and it was like, and they all got into the European Cup final. That's how it works, right? It's just been planned really well.
I have to admire the entrepreneurial skills of your mate. There's a super chat here from Luke82. Great job, Jay. Great job. I got to agree with Kev and Beth. They were there. We kept quiet for 15 years. I think the Glazers have had enough time to give back. And some more super chats here. I've done that one. One here from Bella Visual. I agree with the protests, even the storming of the pitch. But you attack the police and start throwing flares towards the pundits live on TV, the message will get lost. Yeah, Jack, back to you. Souness we'll say the post-match protest analysis, he went on a rant about if a flare had been thrown up here, one of us could have had our eye taken out, scarred for life, blah, 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 blah. I saw the image on Twitter of the policeman with the big gash on his face. And unfortunately, guys, as you know, they are the images that the newspapers are going to spin tomorrow. And that's a poor reflection on the one or two idiots that went into the stadium today and were hell-bent on running amok. I know it only takes 10 people to run amok, but TV cameras are there. They'll pick up on the idiots, unfortunately. Jack, do you want to respond to that?
No, as I say, I don't want this to become like we've all got our own opinions on this, and we all want the Glazers out. It's not like I might have a different view to Kev or Jay or whatever, but I think what it comes down to is that is maybe just from doing work in the media in the past, but I see that when one or two people, there could be 99% of United fans that have done everything right, peaceful protest, even if they were on the pitch doing this and that in Old Trafford, but it was peaceful. As Kev said, there was no sign of forced entry into the ground. It was all like inside job, someone's been let in. I totally understand that point. But when it comes to then 2 or 3 individuals, like the guy who threw the camera over the advertising hoardings, they will be the ones that are on the front page tomorrow, giving our club, the club we love, a bad light. And that is what my point comes down to. I'm not against any of you guys. I'm not against any United fans in terms of their views on these owners, because we all want them out. We all want to drive them out of our football club. But that is the PR that they are going to love to spin and continue this perception of Manchester United and the fan base and certain pockets of the fan base being, giving a negative image of the club. And that's what saddens me a bit today, because I know that's what's going to happen. I know when I go on Twitter tomorrow, there will be that police officer, bloodied attack. It will be dramatised tenfold by the Daily Star. They do it all the time for clickbait. It will be like dramatised, but it will paint a picture of Manchester United that us as the fans, we want the Glazers out, but ultimately we don't want to be supporters of a football club where we're being represented in a negative way.
But Jack, can you look at this now, right, and say, and even look back and say, right, were United fans storming on the pitch and doing that was a good thing, or are you still going to stick by that and say, no? Are you not going with the sheep though? Are you not going with the media?
This is going to sound really contradictory. This is going to sound really contradictory. But having listened to you and Beth and your experiences there today, maybe my point on the pitch invasion. Well, and I can see Alex already like smirking. I never really go back on my points. No, I'm not with the sheep, Kev. I'm not a media. I'm not putting this media light because it's not about that.
Listen, mate. I've got nothing against you. I'm just trying to make you see the point of the actual protest and what Manchester United did today. It's very easy, and we all know today, or say tomorrow in the papers, it's all going to be portrayed as English hooliganism. Manchester United fans, the thugs about this, that, and that's the way they will portray it. But for a statement and what Manchester United did today, or supporters, do you would now agree and look and go, do you know what? That was the only way they could do it. He's gone. Can't believe it, man. Right. Couldn't handle the heat.
Look, Kevin,
get out the kitchen.
Listen to me. Let's be fair to Jack, right? Jack does have a valid point. Let's be fair. He doesn't have a valid point. Unfortunately, the media will spin this and go down the hooligan element. Unfortunately, and it only takes, as I said, guys, 10 idiots, drinking and boozed up to prepare us all in a poor light. So Jack does have a point. I do take his point. There's one here from Max Gilbert. He says, plot twist. Ed Woodward let the fans in to win the fans back before he leaves. He secretly has a Busby Babes tattoo, and his kids are called Fergie and Jemba. There's one here as well from a Chris Chrisham. Ignoring this smashed door then. Yeah, I better respond to that, guys. And Beth, I'll go to you on this. An image came out today on YouTube, I think about an hour ago, and some girl on a camera phone did a short impromptu video of a smashed door to club. Look, Beth, what do you think of that?
Personally, it's not for me vandalising stuff. Fair enough, going onto the pitch and making yourself heard. Vandalising stuff isn't really for me. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm completely against what you've done to make this heard. It's not, as I've said, obviously, unfortunately, there was a few people that did get into some sort of there were also a few people that were injured from their own personal kind of arguments and stuff. But getting onto the pitch and doing that protest, it's not going to hurt anyone but the Glazers' pockets. And that's what kind of my take on it is. And sometimes you've got to do certain things to make your voices heard. And like I was saying before, people who, no offense to you, Jack, whatsoever, but people who sit there and say, probably should have done this in a different way. Why don't we do it like this, like this? Glazers will be loving to hear stuff like that, because that's a lot quieter and it's a lot less of a burden on them. The people that are extremely outspoken, going onto the pitch, making their voices heard. I know a friend who actually went onto the pitch and went into the stadium, actually spoke to Neville. And apparently Neville was completely in agreement with it. And he was really, really nice about it, because these people are all, the people that are there, they're all fans of the club. And as long as you're not hurting anybody else, to do what you have to do to make your voices heard out of an owner that is put the fans last for years upon years upon years, I think the Glazers are getting what they deserve within this process, and I encourage people to stand up against it. And yeah, a door was kicked down; it can be replaced. But guess what? None of us are paying for it. It's people who have taken dividends out of the club for years and years that are going to have to pay for it. That's what's going to happen. So whatever people want to do to make their voices heard, you do what you want to do. Personally, for me, smashing the door down and going in wasn't the way that I was going to do it. But I respect people that are doing it and making a voice for all of the fans.
Very well said. Look, today, enough was enough, and people today voted with their feet, voted with their voices, got on the pitch. Some people are going to agree with it, some people won't. It happened, and if anything now, we as a fan base have to extrapolate the positives from it. The very fact that, yes, the game was cancelled, the biggest game in the English football calendar has been cancelled, and that will resonate, as Kevin said, around the world. Super chat here from Goria. Let's understand this. We have control over what we want to watch. Read and click. When the news comes out tomorrow, don't click, don't watch, don't buy. Trolls should never be fed. That is an excellent point. Trolls shouldn't be fed. Matt Gilbert says, ultimately, disagree with Jack, but he's right about the press spin. He is right. Let him have his opinion without trying to force him around. We're all united. No. Listen, Max, to respond to that, Kevin is not trying to force Jack around. Kevin has listened to what Jack said, as have I. And on this forum, we all listen to each other. Red Baron says, 15 years pent up anger against Glazers. It's like boiling a pot of water. Eventually, it will burst. Yes, it will burst. And I opened the show what I said today is a red letter day in the club, and it will go down in club history. And it'll go down for the right reasons, because finally, as a fan base, people got up off their arses, stop hiding behind social media avatars, and actually did something today. I just want to go back to Alex now. You've heard us all rabbit on for the last 10 minutes, Alex, and I'm sorry that I haven't spoken with you, but I was missing super chats, and I was very mindful of it.
That's all right, don't worry about it. Just one thing I was going to say as well, it's like with the criminal damage, yeah, okay, it does send the wrong message in a sense, but it's not like, for example, I've seen videos in the past of like when fans have gone on away days and they've like smashed up some guys like personal cafe and stuff. With United, it's like it's a multi-billion-pound company, and like same with Sky with the tripod, even though I think again that was a bit thuggish. So it's like they can repair all this stuff easily, and they don't even bother to repair Old Trafford. The peaceful stuff just doesn't work, Jack, and it really won't. Like I said before about the Arsenal protest, no one's talking about it already. And likewise, if the protest today, like for example the protest last week, it's as soon as it finished, you don't really hear much about it. You see like the odd picture on Twitter of people holding up like the green and yellow smoke grenades and stuff. But apart from that, like not much is said. Whereas this, people will be talking about it for a long time.
I'll take that point on.
Exactly, Alex, and that's why today's protest will go worldwide. Mm-hmm. It's gone worldwide, right? So they've done the protest last week. It's like, oh yeah, everyone looks at it and goes, right, yeah, United fans protested, the Arsenal fans did it, Liverpool did it.
Yeah, you get bunched in.
Yeah, this has just took it to a new level. And I am totally ruling out the fact of all this hooliganism, fans doing this, that, right? We were there today. I seen it with my own eyes. I seen exactly, and everybody was united together. Everybody had the same thing in mind. I actually stood next to a guy. I couldn't believe it, man. Stood next to me, right? He started talking to me. I thought, is that a Scouse accent? He went, I'm a Liverpool fan. So I was like, all right, dickhead. So anyway, he pulls down his zip. He's got a Liverpool shirt on underneath. So I'm kind of looking at him thinking, right, how's this one going to go? He said, listen, mate. He said, we're all here for the same thing. He said, exactly. I want my owners out as much as you want your owners out. So he said, we're all here for the same thing. He said, forget that I'm a Liverpool fan. I was like, well, do you know what? I still don't like you.
I haven't seen him since.
I still don't like you, mate. But we are all here for the same reason. And we were. And he said, listen, we've got these knobhead American owners that own us, that we're trying to do the same thing that the Glazers, and Manchester United were trying to do. And I was like, do you know what, mate? I actually kind of like you. I was like, yeah, I like
making all that effort.
We're all there for the same thing.
In your club, like,
yeah, that is
actually a bit respectable, to be fair, because he's protesting for something that we do all want.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's what it comes down to. I think the whole Super League thing, especially with the top 6 clubs, it's just completely we've been devoid of trust. We've lost all our trust. Obviously, the Glazer ownership, I would definitely agree. And hearing from Kevin Beth's viewpoint, it's definitely because like me, Alex, and Jay, we've seen it on social media how it's unfolded, but it's interesting hearing it from people who are actually there today. And I think definitely, without a doubt, this is the first time in the 15, 16 years that the Glazers have been our owners, that we have made a stand as fans. And I would probably take back my point on the fans protesting on the pitch, because I've heard it differently from people who were there. But it just, for me personally, just my final kind of point on it is just the kind of, and I know fans won't care about this, but it's just a portrayal, and it's how not that I'm a sheep or I care about what the media say about us, this and that, but you just know what's coming. And I really hope this doesn't have negative ramifications going forward. And I really hope we can continue to just fight for what we want. We all want the Glazers out. It doesn't make me any less of a fan, guys, if the Glazers go out, but because I have this view, then people just, we all want the Glazers out. So it's not about, this is where I think the fan base needs to unite, because there will be people who have a similar opinion to me. And there'll be a lot of people who have the same opinion as the other guys here on the fan forum. But it's all about us uniting together. It really, really is, and doing whatever we can. And I do agree with Kev. The peaceful fans that were there on the Old Trafford pitch today sent out a worldwide statement without a doubt. No other Arsenal didn't do it. Tottenham had about 6 people with a guitar outside. Six people on the guitar. So when we look at it like that, we are massive. We know we are, and we can make that statement. The Tottenham one was really funny, but yeah, it's going to be. It's time now for the fan base to not be divided. I really don't want that to happen. Say next season is the real start. I'd love to see the Glazers. I just want to ask this, like, give it to the floor, maybe give it to Beth or whatever. Like, what do you think the Glazers are honestly thinking now, sitting in their penthouse in California or whatever?
Honestly, I can't work out what they'd be thinking. I was saying today to people who were there, because we were talking about it, and I was like, at the end of the day, if you own a £4 billion business, are some people that you're never going to have to come back into contact with, you're never really going to have to see, you're just going to have to put up with it, is that really going to push you out of a £4 billion business? I really hope to God that it does. And I hope they're sat there thinking, maybe it is time for us to cash in on this now, sell the club, get our money from it and move on to a different project. I hope that's what they're doing, because they can see the fans don't like them, and it's becoming more and more prominent that they're gonna start losing money, not massive amounts, because we know that people will end up forgetting about this, which shouldn't happen. If this movement stands today, don't let this movement go to waste by it being forgotten about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for doing what we've done today, but if nothing is followed up with it, then it kind of makes it a little bit irrelevant, because it's not followed up. But anyway, so they either sat there thinking, do you know what? I've got my billions. I'm sat here. There's some English fans that I've never really got to interact with, but I've got my £1 billion business. Or they're thinking possibly now it's time to cash in and get the money for this club while we can and move on to something else. I hope it's a second option, but we'll never know, because they're never here. They're always in America. Like, they're never even at the game. So we don't know what's going on. The only time that we'll tell is in the summer. They'll either have to invest and make a marquee signing to try and kind of smother the fans and like kind of smooth everything over with them, or they're going to not invest because they're selling it. So what's the point of investing when you're going to sell the club? And they'll do it that way. It just depends which route they're going to go down. Either or, at least if they do start investing more money into the club, it's something other than nothing. But they can't carry on the way that they are, that's for sure. That's the one message that is getting put across. If these kind of events keeps happening, something's going to change. They might not end up leaving, but they're going to have to go about the business differently, because the fans are not going to put up with it any longer. And that's what everybody showed today.
Do you guys know if
Go
the Europa
ahead,
League,
Alex, go ahead.
just with the Europa League final, if fans are allowed to that? Because that will be one thing that the Glazers will actually turn up to, because they turned up to our last Europa League final. So if fans,
I think they're hoping for about 10,000, but 5,000 from each. I think that's what you went.
So
that's what you went to.
If we protest at that game, all the Polish United fans and stuff go to that protest as well. The Glazers are actually going to be at that game. It's like I know it comes around once in a blue moon that they actually turn up. So if they must have heard about today's protest, but to actually like see it firsthand, if they could actually protest that game, that would be the best game to protest, I think.
Guys, I need to catch up on Super Chats here, and then I want to address what Jack and Beth eloquently said. There's one here from, is it ZZP Zeus, if I'm saying correctly. Next time we protest, we find our seats at Old Trafford, bring sleeping bags and food to survive a few weeks. Big up to football fans fighting. Okay, big up. Another one here. I'm all for the protest, says Hayata, as we got to get our voices heard. But how is the COVID situation over there? I'm from Singapore and we're doing well, but we took a small incident and we're seeing community infections again. Well, I can only talk for Ireland. We have a inept government that couldn't run a bath of water. So I don't know how it is in the UK. Next, Nathan Joseph. Protests are supposed to make you feel uncomfortable when watching. Women's rights, segregation, etc. all protested in ways that were hard to watch. No change comes easy. The aim is to force discussion. Nathan Joseph, that's the comment of the night. Protests through history have never been holding hands, at an establishment, handing out flowers, and everyone singing songs. Go ahead, Kev.
Sorry, Jay. What is the point of a peaceful protest? What has a peaceful protest ever done? Right? You need action, right? And I've seen somebody in the comments before saying, "Oh, Kev's promoting violence and that." I'm not promoting violence, right? Nobody's died today. Nothing of that sort has happened, right? You need to make change through making a really, really strong point. Manchester United fans did it by actually breaking into Old Trafford, however they did it, and making this point and calling off this game, right? Yeah, I'm not talking that, like I say, let's have a peaceful protest. Let's all sit outside Old Trafford and just sit there and go, "Oh yeah, Glazers out," and they're gonna go,
Kevin,
"Oh the heck."
I think Kevin is spot on what he said, right? Never once today on Twitter or tonight in the show did Kevin promote violence. And looking at some of the live comments here, I think people are completely misunderstanding and misinterpreting what Kevin is saying. Okay? Kevin has been a lifelong Man United fan, like all of us here. And Kevin wants change in the club. And today, I hope will be an agent for change. How long change will take, we don't know. But today is an agent for change. And Kev, he opened his statement. He said that today the game being cancelled will resonate around the world. And if that took fans getting into the ground because what somebody inside left the door off the latch, fantastic, because that's what was needed. I personally don't believe, I'm speaking for myself now, but I'm going to go to Jack next. I personally don't believe, fans chanting inside the ground, holding up placards, chanting for an hour, then the game goes ahead, would have been enough because there would have been no gravitas. So a protest in any context needs gravitas. And the gravitas today was the fans inside the ground. Did the fans rip up the pitch? No. Did they rip down the goals or cause serious criminal damage? No, they did not. One chap broke a camera. Yes. Another young lad was shown up on the goals. Yes. But unfortunately, that's a spin that the media will go with. So, Jackson, I'm going to go to you next, Jack, after this point here. It's a chap in Sweden, big up Sweden. Rasmus has given us 50 sec. Difference now is the sponsors starting to react. Reaction in Sweden has been good. One said in TV coverage, this is positive for football and fans. On that point, guys, all week, each and every one of us on our social media and in this channel, we were actively promoting the 50+1 petition. Were we not? Each and every one of us. Yeah. And I said to Flex on another show that I was shocked that it took almost a week for it to reach 100,000. I thought after a week that petition would be 500,000, no problem. And we had to push and push that petition because we were saying here in Ireland, and the saying goes, eaten bread is soon forgotten. The Europa League is dead, yes. Man City fans have gone quiet. Arsenal fans, I think, was it Kevin or Jack said, were having a small protest, no paying attention to. The Spurs fans had a protest. But already, guys, since the Europa 2 weeks ago, the impetus and the wind has gone out of the sails. So today, the focus is back on the 50+1. It's back on the protest, and that's exactly what we want. So, Jack, I'm going to go to you next, okay? I know in the super chats and comments, some of the comments have been directed towards you, and obviously I can't apologize on behalf of anybody, but I think it's unfair. One more here from Tommy Burke. The demonstrations should continue at Bucks games in the US. Tommy, they won't. Glazers might take notice in their own country and in front of their favorite team. Look, as a massive, massive fan of NFL, I don't think for 1 second there's going to be any protests at a Bucks home game in Florida next August when the NFL restarts. Tommy, as much as like it to happen, I don't think it'll happen. Jack, back to you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I just want to, as I said about the reform and the 50+1, I think it's hugely important. I think the Super League news that came out really has just shaken up English football as we know it. A couple of weeks ago, we were doing a fan forum, all of us, and we were thinking, what is Manchester United going to look like? Like, what club are we going to have to support? What games are we going to be playing in what countries at what times? I think the 50+1 is hugely important. I think a lot of people on social media maybe just shared it but didn't sign the petition, and that's why the 100,000 took a bit of time to go. I don't know personally. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I saw a lot of United fans sign the petition, but then I saw a lot of other football fans maybe just share it just for likes and not actually sign. So at least Parliament can talk about it and we can, go for change. So Glazers and Kroenke and all these other owners, they don't have the ownership that they have at these football clubs. And that's what it boils down to. In terms of the protest, I know I keep reiterating my point. I will take back my points. I'll hold my hands up. And after hearing Kevin Beth and what happened today, I completely, the sensationalist spin of United fans being thugs and criminals, I'm sure them fans that went into Old Trafford were doing it to make a statement and not to go and beat up stewards and, incite violence. And I totally agree. Kevin is not inciting violence whatsoever. I'm sure he's a really nice bloke. And but yeah, I think it's a very, very important time now. I think what we said on these fan forums a lot and shows about hitting them in the pockets, hitting them where it hurts, merchandise sponsors, that has to continue. That can't just stop, because today was a massive, massive event. And yeah, it's a tipping point in its own right. But as you said, we're probably the only club that's kind of continued this longevity with the Glazers. You see Tottenham, you see Arsenal, they maybe haven't gone about it. They've had different things go on at their clubs and it's kind of gone up and down. But I just think we've got to keep this going now right to the end of the season. And as Alex said, like, if they are at the Europa League final, I'm not sure if they will be, but if like a game like that could be a massive stage for another protest of this nature to happen again, who knows? Fans might protest at the Europa League final. I'm not sure. Like, something needs to be the start of change. It really does. Not just for Manchester United, but I think the greater English game, because a couple of weeks ago, we were all united. And Kev, you said a Liverpool fan was outside Old Trafford with you. How the fact you didn't bottle that guy over the head because he had a Liverpool shirt on, I don't know. I'm not saying
I don't
I
don't like violence.
Jack, come on. We already said Kevin does not condone violence. Come on, I've gone on record and said it. Jesus, Jack.
I've thrown Kevin under the bus there. I'm just saying all of us would, but.
And I was about to commend Jack on how Jack was so eloquent and retracted his earlier statement. And now he's just thrown Kevin under the bus. Alex, I want to come to you next. Jack was raised a point there before he threw Kevin under the bus. Jack was raising a point there about what is the next step. So, Alex, what do you think is the next step? And I'll come to Beth and Kevin in due course on that point.
Still under the bus.
Yeah, I was just going to comment just on the end of what Jack said. Of if they do actually go to that game, how amazing will it be of just like the 5,000 United fans, just the entire game singing that Glazer song about that they've been chanting today at the game, with just them right in front of them, just the whole game, just chanting that song. In terms of next steps, I think we just have to keep doing. I think the best step would be to just protest again. Like I said, if this game gets rescheduled, to try to disrupt that again. Obviously, this was arranged by Red Army and this supporters trust, so I don't know how efficient it can be to plan something that big again, because obviously people travel from all over the country, and I don't think they're going to be able to afford to keep coming to multiple ones. But with the local fans, at least to disrupt the games, I think we have to keep targeting them on social media, the sponsors. People keep linking me in these things with all the sponsors. So I always just click on a random one and go looking through all their posts. And literally all their social media is flooded. It'll be like they'll have like 2 retweets, 3 likes, and then like 100 something comments. And you click on the comments and literally it's all like Glazers out and like stuff like that. So I think that they will. If you're trying to advertise your product, you're not going to really want this to be done. But in terms of the not buying the merchandise and stuff, I think it is a good point. But how many like United fans, for example, are on social media? I think like that, or on like football Twitter or something, you can convey this point of people are still going to buy the merch. I think that like across okay, in like all of us that are like so interacting with each other on why is the boss on your head? With each other on like social media and stuff, we can say don't buy the thing and spread the message like that. But for most people, they're not going to see this and they're still going to buy their thing. Or like if their kid, like for example, speaking as a dad, like if my son or something was to ask me and stuff, it puts you in a difficult position, doesn't it? If your kid's asking, yeah, go.
That wasn't to you, Alex. Sorry, that was to.
No, that was to me.
But like, if your kid comes up to you, or Jay, you're a dad. Like, if your son was like, "Oh, I want a new Man United shirt for Christmas or something," then it puts you as a dad in a difficult position.
Well, Alex, on that, my son has already been told the only kit he's getting going forward is retro kits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's all he's going to wear. And he's 7, and he's just going to have to deal with it. He's not wearing the new kit, not a chance. I'm going to read some super chats here and come back to Kevin now that he's been removed from under the bus. Stefan Negru says, Glazers don't deserve United. We are an investment to them. Agreed. Kudos to the fans fighting for our identity today. This should be done until they sell. And Mark Wright says, Jack, you're talking about Poland. You live in Watford. Okay. Leonie Lamin, she says, we talk about hitting the Glazers in the pocket. And I think the game being cancelled did exactly that. Broadcasting schedules from networks all over the world were affected. Definite worrisome for them. Okay, chat's up to date. Yeah, good point. So as Kevin has now been removed from the bus, and Kevin, we've already established Jack does not advocate hitting anybody over the head with a bottle. So now Louis Love says, Jack, stop caving. Oh, Jack. I actually feel sorry for Jack. You know,
break, please. I feel sorry
Jack,
for this.
Jack, listen, to everybody watching, right? Jack has raised some very key pertinent points.
You've got to have your opinion. I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, listen, like not everybody agrees with me on here, and I'm cool with that. I don't agree with everything Beth says or Ricky or whatever. And that's fine. They don't agree with me. But that's the beauty of it, guys. We're all entitled. We're all entitled to our opinions, okay? And Jack voiced his opinion, which is a right to do so. And to be fair to Jack, I'll give him credit right now. After he had heard everything that Beth and Jack said, Beth and Kev said, I should say, who were at the protest, Jack did retract as part of his statement. And credit to Jack for that. So, Kevin, back to you.
Yeah, it just sounds. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
You don't know what? That's definitely Kevin. Okay, how's the wine going down? You have a bottle now in your hand. How's the wine going down?
Really
how's the Malbec?
It's nearly gone.
Are we going to become like KG did on a previous show where he literally had to drop off some Hennessy? What number are you on, Kevin? Is it 1 or 2 bottles? Dwight wants to know.
What? 4? 1 or 2.
Top lad.
He's gone hardcore. He's gone hardcore.
Listen, I've been protesting today, right? It's been a long day.
It's out, you done it.
Home now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look, all
I'm trying to do today, after seeing Jack's tweet earlier about United fans being hooligans and stuff, I'm trying to make him believe. What have I done, Jack? Have I made you? I've scratched your head. You've looked and gone, do you know what?
I think, Kevin, I've seen the light.
There we go.
You've shown me the light, Kevin. You've shown me the light.
You were against like the vandalism and stuff, but that one guy that took the corner flag, how good of a souvenir is that to now have at home for the rest of his life?
I actually saw a tweet apparently because the corner flag got taken and a number of balls, the game couldn't have gone ahead because they had a missing corner flag and they would have had to get a new one, which they couldn't get replaced by this evening.
Yeah. And it's on eBay now, Jack, and you just bought it, so you're part of the hypocrisy of all this.
Beth, I want to come back to you, Beth, if you don't mind.
And he bought it. Can't believe it.
Okay, Beth, what do you think now, after the protest today? We've all agreed this has resonated worldwide. It's reached a new tipping point. What do you think now is the way forward for further protests?
I think the same thing's got to start happening. Obviously, the way that Alex said, this kind of mass of a protest can't happen every week in, week out. Like, there can't be this going on every single week. But people, what they've got to do is just need to keep making their voice heard. For example, Twitter's a way of doing it. Everything. When you're talking about Manchester United, you need to make it heard that you are Glazers out, because that's the whole part of it. If all of this just stops after today, then it kind of makes what this has been a little bit irrelevant, because people will end up forgetting about it. If you against the Glazers, another thing, it's an obvious point, try not to buy the merchandise. I know it's hard because I've got a little brother, he'll be like, all my friends have their kits on. Why can I not have my kit on? It's that kind of way that it is. And there's still going to be fans worldwide, a mass amount of fans that are going to be buying the stuff. But then are we hypocrites because we pay for season tickets and we want to watch our club? I don't know. It's a funny one, is where you draw the line. But whatever you think you can do to make your voice heard, and when there's events such as this game, the Liverpool-Manchester United game, after especially what got announced because of the Super League, it was the right time to do something like this. It was the right game to do it at, to get the most publicity, and it was the right time to do it at after the Glazers had just announced this Super League. And every single fan who was there today had a right to be there and to be saying what they think should happen and what they want to happen, because the fans are the most important bit of the club. And do you know what? When Glazers make their decisions, they don't think about us, and that's what we were doing today. We're not thinking about them. We want them gone. And we want the message put out there for them. And the more that we can get this message put across, the better chance that we have of getting them out the club. Whether it'll actually happen, we don't know. But at least you can go home and say you've tried, and you're part of the movement that's trying to get it happening.
Yeah. Well said, Beth. At least we can all say that we've all tried in our own little way.
Exactly. Even signing the petition is trying.
Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry?
I said, even signing the petition, you're trying to fix a football pyramid in that sense. That's just a small way of doing something to help. Do you know what I mean?
There's a chat here from a Luke Townsend, and he says, when the game is happening, good to see people protest against the Glazers. And I saw another one pop up there from a chap in America. I missed it, but I remembered. He said he's going to have his Glazers out sign at a Bucks game in the NFL. So all credit to him.
Fair play.
So Kevin, my partner reckoned that I was being left out, so she's handed me a little glass of Camp Sav. She reckoned she was reckoning I was being left out, and like I shouldn't really, because last night I was watching Katie Taylor retain her world title, and last night was my celebration night. I didn't think I'd be on it again tonight, but there you go. So Jack, back to you. I know some of the comments, unfortunately, have been derogatory towards you. I don't agree with them personally. I back up your right to have your opinion, 100%. So what do you feel now is the way forward?
Well, it's It's more of the same. I'm just echoing other people's points. Really, I think this just can't stop here, and I think now we've got how many home games to the end of the season? I think 3, and obviously the Fulham game. There could be even more fans before the game because there could be 10,000 in Old Trafford anyway. So there's even more reason to protest. I will be intrigued to see what happens in terms of.
I reckon they'll cancel that now. Letting that for that game, don't you? Because if you're protesting and stuff like this,
that's what I mean.
To the ground, I reckon they might not want the hassle.
Interesting.
It's an interesting point.
Interesting.
Sorry, no. One of the super chats just says Kev's new name is now Father Jack.
Drink.
Go on, Kevin. You know what? Go on. What's the other line? Drink what? What else? Drink.
Just that's it. Drink.
It's drink. It's drink, feck, and women. That was Father Jack's line in Father Ted, and right now that comment has gone over the heads of a couple thousand people.
Dave, before you carry on, I swear to God, Flex will back me up. Early when I first arrived today, there was a guy with like a cardboard cutout. You know, like when you write something on it.
Yeah,
and
go on.
All it said was. This was at 1:30 this afternoon. This lad just walked across, and me and Flex and KG were stood there, and it said "down with this sort of thing." But
no way!
That. I swear to God.
Again, for those you watching, go ahead.
Flex went. He was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And I went, "Father Ted." I was like, "If you don't watch Father Ted,
you know, you know."
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Who takes the time out of the day to cut a piece of cardboard out, go to a protest against the Glazers and write down with that sort of thing?" But sorry, I loved it.
Okay, listen. As an Irish person, I love that. I think that's actually ingenious. So those of you watching that don't get that connotation, go on YouTube and just put in Father Ted. All shall be revealed. So, guys, we're gonna wrap it up soon. As a comment here from our Rodney. Oh, great name here, guys. Rodney Getridge. If that is his real name, what was your dad thinking? So he says, who's giving the Glazers 3.5 billion? That's the only way Glazers out. They live in Florida and New York. So, guys, I want to move this on now to. You know what I want to do, guys? Okay, I have an issue here with some of the fans on Twitter, and whenever I see a post from the club, and it'll be, say, 3,000 likes, 4,000 likes, okay? I'm asking each and every one of you right now, stop liking their posts across all social media platforms, stop sharing their posts, stop commenting on their posts. That's something very simple to execute, because people all over the world watching and saying, "Oh, I wish I could be in the protest today." And yes, me too. So I'm asking you all now watching here, stop liking, stop sharing, and stop commenting on absolutely every single piece of propaganda put up by the club. Because wait and see, guys, this week, we're probably going to be signing Ronaldo. Varane story will come out. We could be signing Saul Nunez this week. We're going to be linked to absolutely every single top-class player between now and European Championships. Do not buy into the propaganda. Stop liking, stop sharing, stop commenting. Don't believe in the propaganda and stop being a sheep. If I can offer one message to you fans watching, stop being a sheep and look beneath the surface. Like this week, the good news story was Cavani re-signed, which I'm delighted Cavani re-signed. Delighted. And then on Monday, Tuesday, it was linked to Haaland and Kane again. We were never, ever going to sign Haaland or Kane. And wait and see again this summer, it'll be the Jadon Sancho saga 2.0. For me, I don't know the rest of you, I'll ask you the same question. For me, until a player is holding up the goddamn jersey, we have signed absolutely nobody. Alex, do you want to respond to that?
Well, I understand what you mean in terms of like them using us for clicks and stuff, but I think with Sancho there was actually a solid basis for that. I think Sancho thought he was coming in. I think Dortmund's sporting director pretty much admitted that. But yeah, with regards to the linking us to players, they they do it at the best of times anyway, just to generate clicks off United. But now that United want to push out these good news stories, but the thing, you know, like off the United Stand Twitter, they posted about this the other day about like linking us to all these players and stuff to try to like get some like good feeling with the fans. But the way I don't understand is, if you push out, oh, we might sign Ronaldo, we might sign Kane, and then you don't sign them, how's it getting like good? Like, how's it building anything with the fans? Because surely it would have the opposite effect of them leaking things, saying that we're showing ambition, and then we get to the end of the summer and then we didn't show ambition again. So surely it would have the complete opposite effect, and you're going to piss the fans off even more.
You would think so, but let's be fair. We do have certain elements of the fan base that will jump on any story that's propagated by the club and believe it like it's Christmas morning and they're getting all their toys. That's just human nature. So I'm asking people, just try and think outside the box. Use your own head. Just think for yourself. Don't believe the club spin. Beth, what's your thought on that?
I completely agree with you. The thing is, this is what always happens. What comes out after there's kind of been a negative spin on the Glazers and the club, it comes out like the United Stand just put on AJ, just put on United signing Messi, Ronaldo, all this. We're going to get linked. We always do every year anyway. We get linked to every player under the sun, and that's going to happen again. But in reality, until them players have actually signed and holding up the shirts, you cannot believe any of these rumours, because think about how many people we were linked to last summer and look at what we got. It's just... It's kind of like you really cannot believe anything until it's actually signed and happened, and you get the here you go from Fabrizio. You really can't, because the way that these PR people, and United have people working for like the Manchester Evening News and people in news as well, that put out these stories to try and gain positive press. You just can't allow that for you to change your viewpoint on stuff. For example, even when like we win a game, obviously we're so happy because we're United fans and we want us to do well and we want us to win games and we want the club to do well, but that can't make you then start interacting like on the social media of the Manchester United, on the tweets and stuff. And when, for example, when the Super League got put out and then they were just tweeting as if nothing's happened, I just think that is so disrespectful to every fan that was really struggling with that kind of movement within football, and the amount of disrespect that can be shown on social media just to try and get people's opinions to change and kind of get on board with them. You've really just got to use your own mind and kind of think to yourself, what do I believe in and do I actually think it's changing? And until there's action, then there's no change. The thing is, all talk and no action is what the club is. And until there is action, you cannot believe in these stories and anything to do with that. You can't let it sway your mindset on the Glazers.
That's a very excellent point. You summed it up there. Until there's action, it's all PR, it's all propaganda. And, you know, the old cliche, actions speak louder than words. Yeah. And the last couple of transfer windows, they've been typified for me with gross incompetence and ineptitude. For me, like, I've been very, very critical of the club. Like, I don't enjoy coming on here and all the time being the Roy Keane character and being critical. I actually want to come on and talk about good football. I genuinely, seriously, Beth, and everybody that's watching, I want to come on here and talk about good football and ultimately chat about us winning titles, you know, and competing in Champions League semi-finals and finals. That's what I want to talk about.
Winning a title in a couple of weeks.
Because that's, yeah, do you know what we're winning? We know we're winning. We're winning the Champions League B Cup.
Yeah,
like, that's what we're winning.
It's still a trophy. We're not in a position after
Alex,
all these years to be choosy.
Alex, on that, right? Jose Mourinho won that title, as you referred to it as, in 2017, and was second in the league with 80 odd points. Someone tell me the number of points.
That's what people always say. But the thing that's better about Oli is that they were two separate seasons.
Alex, that summer, Mourinho wasn't backed in the transfer market.
Yeah, no, they won't be. All
right. And like at that time, I was working in a hotel, and I spent a lot of time hiding in the office from the staff before I killed somebody. And I remember watching Mourinho's press conferences, and he looked so annoyed and crestfallen in press conferences in America because he knew, right, I'm not getting Koulibaly, I'm getting nobody. I go back to Manchester, and who do I get? I get the third choice goalkeeper. What the fuck do I want goalkeeper for?
Yeah, that was Professor Lee Grant and Fred.
Yeah, he did. And then fast forward to November, December time before he got the sack. He's playing Fellaini and who else was crap for us? Fellaini and what was that guy? The second fake Brazilian, apart from Fred, you correct me his name.
Cleverson.
Not Pereira.
Yeah. So
Pereira.
Mourinho was literally started taking the piss, playing those two midfield and benching Pogba because Mourinho had literally pressed the struck button. And I just hope that, this doesn't happen to Ole, that Ole turn around, like next October, November, December, we're back where we were. We're back with Maguire, Lindelof. And actually, guys, this week only in a press conference, Solskjaer said, and I quote, Maguire and Lindelof are solid. I'm sorry, guys, but for me, Maguire and Lindelof are as solid as a sandcastle in a gale force wind. Okay? They're all his own words. So next season, I don't want to see next season, right? Our solid partnership, and then protected again by McFred. So let me finish. I don't want to see next season our solid partnership protected again by McFred. I know Beth, you're credited with inventing that, and credit to you. But next season, I don't want to see that again, because if Solskjaer doesn't get the CDM that we are crying out for and the right winger, Chelsea will strengthen, Liverpool will strengthen, Man City, they'll buy a top class striker, and we guys, I think if he isn't backed by the Glazers next season, we are going to be struggling around again, fighting for top four, and that is on the owners. And every one of us will come out on fan forums, and we will be slating Solskjaer's tactics. But if unless he has the tools to employ the tactics he wants to employ, we're hiding to nothing. Kevin, what do you think?
I was just going to say, fair play, Jay. I think you've done an absolute stunning job of presenting your first Man United or whatever United stand show this evening. Listen, mate, I was just going to simply say, is the world flat or is it round? I don't know.
Kev, thanks for that compliment. That's very, very kind of you. Alex, what's your closing statement? I'll give everyone a closing statement now.
I was just going to just pull up on...
Why are you cutting me off?
I feel like you are sometimes harsh to Maguire and Lindelof in the sense of, if we were to look back, I don't know where we are in terms of goals against in comparison to the other high-up teams, but if you're to look back on the goals we concede, most of the time it's from set pieces. And I feel like if we just figured out how to defend from set pieces, we'd be way better. They do make the odd mistake, both of them, in the Roma game with the Dzeko goal. But overall, they're like a hell of a bigger improvement on the defenders we had when Ollie first came in.
You're not
Alex, I take your point, Alex. I take your point. I take your point in that. However, when Bailly has been fit,
he
has not got a look in. And I've harked back many times to the game against Everton when Bailly played beside Maguire and Bailly pocketed Calvert-Lewin. Hard to pocket someone like Calvert-Lewin, and Bailly did it. The following weekend, Bailly's back on the bench. Zayn Miasi, my old friend.
Finally, it wouldn't be a fan forum.
It wouldn't be a fan forum. Oh, Zayn Miasi. Jay, get ready for Uba in the final. Good protest.
Will he even get off the bench this time?
To be honest,
Jack,
I'm surprised.
What's your closing statement, Jack?
My closing statement. Oh no, I just wanted to say quickly to Alex. Are you not a bit worried though, Alex? Because as you say, if we get top four, which we will this season, the Glazers never invest anyway. So it's next season we're already putting ourselves a bit with Maguire. I understand we kind of say a lot on Twitter about getting this position, but do you actually believe we're gonna? I don't think any of us believe we're gonna get the positions we want.
Oh no, God no! I'm fully expecting us to have a terrible summer again. And don't get me wrong, I would, in a dream world, have a new centre back partner with Maguire, but I don't think Maguire and Lindelof are as bad as everyone makes out. And it's the same with McTominay and Fred. I don't think that they should be starters, but I don't think they're as bad as each other make out. It's just they're both in the same situation of because them two are paired together and because Maguire and Lindelof are paired together.
My closing statement. Oh, Jay, you did an absolutely smashing job. I'm sorry, Kev, for saying that you incite violence and bottle people over the head.
Listen, mate, you've got me into so much trouble tonight. My phone has not stopped beeping all night. Yeah, Jack from the United stand said that you incite violence. I swear to God, got
what, have you just had your boss-
MI5 and everything tracking me now. I can't even speak in my own home. Everybody's looking and going, cameras everywhere.
You're going to have a big headache tomorrow, Kev.
I know.
It's bank holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah, good job. We have tomorrow off.
When does Kev ever get a Monday off? Can't make the most of it.
No, Jay, big up. You've been really good presenter.
Well, listen, Jack, thanks for that. Thanks for it. As I said, check us in the post. Kevin, I'm actually dying to see your next band cam because I know you clipped up me from what I said about Fred and Matomale, and I hope you put it on Van Cam next Friday because it was actually comedy gold. Beth, what's your closing statement?
I just want to say that, Jay, you've done an absolutely amazing job. I feel like you've kind of worked the show really, really well. And I think, yeah, I'd like to see you do more shows because you did it so well. It's good to hear everybody's opinions, and everyone's entitled to opinions, and it's all about debate. And that's why we're here on this fan channel. It's not about the same fan just repeating their opinion. It's about everyone kind of interacting and talking about it. And yeah, it's just been a great show, and we're getting the message out there for Glazers Out. And Kev, I just want to see what your hangover scene tomorrow will be a rough one, to be fair.
Jay, can I actually thought you were really shy tonight, to be honest.
Kevin, it's okay, Kevin. I love you too.
Jay, I thought you were average. I give you a...
Kev, give him a rating. 4.
The same rating as he gives Maguire and Lindelof.
But listen, I wouldn't say it to his face. It's only because I'm sat here. I'm miles away from him that I would not say it. But yeah, Jay, well done, Jay. Good 4 out.
Kevin, you do know that we are going to be meeting in Manchester and going to a game together when the fans are left in, and we're going to be face to face, my friend. Okay, guys, listen. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. We've all enjoyed being on, and I'm so glad with the interaction between people in the super chats and the free seats. And I just reiterate again, guys, this was a red letter day in the history of this club. Shock waves are going to be felt all around the world. And tomorrow, if there is some negativity towards one or two of our fans, so be it. We'll take it in the chin. But at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and that is to get our club back and Glazers out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all soon. Good night.